Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We are back for a deadline stream. So, Game Week 4 deadline stream. So, morning to everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm just going to bring up my team, so just bear with me for a second. There you go. That's what my team's looking like at the moment. So, yeah, as you guys can see, it's just me today. Jordan is he has I think he's got a dentist appointment today, so he won't be able to attend the stream. So yeah, it's just me. So we're going to discuss Game Week 4 transfers, looking ahead, and as you guys know, you might see from my team, I've already made a couple of moves already. So I'll just read out my bus team for you guys. So in goal, I've got Henderson, who's got Leicester at home. In the back three, I have Trent, Saliba, and Robinson. Midfield 5, I've got Diego Jota, Rodgers. As you can see, Mo Salah is in my team, and the player I have transferred out for Mo Salah is Bukayo Saka. He's gone out, so I can bring in Salah when he's got a nice fixture against Nottingham Forest at Anfield. And to complete the midfield, I've got Smith Rowe and Eze as well, who I am starting this week against Leicester as well. So he's got a nice fixture. And I think this could be a week where Eze could potentially go quite big. And then up front, I've got João Pedro, who is my second transfer in this week. And the player I've taken out to fund that move, obviously the Salah move, is Isak. So Isak's gone out, as well as Saka, and I've bought in my two transfers, is Salah and João Pedro. Now, João Pedro has been on really good form this season. He scored 2 goals already, and he's got Ipswich at home. I know there is some worries about João Pedro's minutes after the internationals, but I think he should be fine, and I expect him to start against Ipswich at home. It's a really nice fixture for him. So the next 2 are really nice. So I'm happy to own him for the next 2, and then maybe I look to wildcard in game week 6. We'll have to wait and see. And obviously to complete the team is Haaland, who is currently flagged, but obviously due to personal reasons. But I don't think I think he'll play. So I'm not too worried about Haaland in that regard. If you have Haaland, then I'll just start him and play him. If you're worried, you could go captaincy elsewhere. As you can see with the captaincy, I've got it on Haaland, and Salah is my vice. On the bench, I've not got much. I've got Chris Wood, Ola Aina, who both have Liverpool, and then Barco, who we know is red flagged after his loan move. So yeah, in regards to my team, I think I'm quite happy with the transfers I've done so far. I know they are a bit template, but I think that they're the moves that makes most sense to me for this week. And I really wanted Mo Salah in my team. Very frustrated that I didn't start the season with Salah, because as you guys know, when we did the first drafts earlier on the summer, Salah was in my team and I didn't have Haaland. And then I switched to Haaland. But I think the play was to go both Salah and Haaland, obviously, with hindsight. But I'm glad I've got Salah in now, and yeah, he's just looked, in great form this season, looking very sharp. He looks back to his absolute best, and 3 goals and 3 assists so far this season, 6 attack and returns. Yeah, I'm glad I've got him in. 3 double-digit returns as well. So, and the next, you could say the next 5 fixtures even for Liverpool look really good. Forest and Bournemouth back to back at Anfield. You'd expect Liverpool to pick up maximum points. And Wolves and Palace, 2 away games after that. And Anfield, back to Anfield, against Chelsea, as well for that fixture in game week 8. So Liverpool's longer term fixtures look quite nice. And then obviously it gets a bit trickier in game week 9 when they've got Arsenal. But for the next few, I think Salah is going to be obviously the most captained player in game week 5 when Haaland plays Arsenal. Salah's got Bournemouth at home, so definitely that captaincy pick is one of the other reasons why I wanted to bring Salah in ahead of that game week 5, because I am going to captain him in game week 5 ahead of Haaland. But yeah, that's the team, guys. I'm quite happy with the way it looks at the moment. It's just Saliba's the one where I'm not sure I'd get a clean sheet out of him this week. Obviously, I think Spurs will score against Arsenal, but again, it's one to watch, and Saliba can potentially score on a set piece. Trent, again, I'm very happy to own. I think after Trent owners have been unlucky, as I've mentioned previously, not to have a single attacking return from him so far. You look at that game against Ipswich, he had an expected goal involvement of 1.06, and he didn't get anything. And you can see Trent being subbed off after about 75 minutes in all three games, which is surprising. Normally, he's a 90-minute man under Klopp, but it seems like Slot is taking him, 70, 75 minutes off the pitch, and good and bad. I mean, it locks a clean sheet in if Liverpool, 3 clean sheets now for Liverpool. So one thing definitely we've seen an improvement from Liverpool compared to last season is the defense. They are keeping a lot more clean sheets. I can't remember the last time Liverpool had 3 clean sheets in a row last season. I don't know if they did manage it. So it's nice to see Trent getting the clean sheet points, and then obviously we know the attacking returns. He's been a bit unlucky there. Going to Saliba and Arsenal. I mean, the Arsenal fixtures are quite tough. I've just transferred out Bukayo Saka. Now, we got questions in one of our previous streams. Would you take Saka out for a hit? I don't think you should. If you've got Saka, then I don't think it's a bad hold. But if you can bring in the Mo Salah, then I definitely prefer having Salah over Saka for the next couple of weeks anyway. Because obviously Arsenal have Spurs and Man City away, back-to-back away games. These are tough games for Arsenal. If they can come through these 2 games unscathed, then you like to think it's a very good result for Arsenal going into the season. So, yeah, but I think game week 6 is where the swing happens, and I am looking at potentially a wild card in game week 6 where I want to potentially double or even triple up on Arsenal again with their attackers. So Leicester at home is a great fixture for Arsenal. Then it's Southampton at home, which is a team that we're probably going to be looking to target from what we've seen in the first 3 fixtures, and then Bournemouth away after that. So these 3 fixtures, you probably want someone like a Saka in there in your team, or a Havertz potentially. We know Odegaard's picked up that injury. We'll have to see how serious it is. Obviously, we still don't really know the time frame on that one. But I think wildcard 6, you will be loading up on, at least double Arsenal, I think. Some might even go triple because these fixtures are really nice. We'll have to see how Arsenal do against Spurs and City. But then after that, it goes a bit tough again. So Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea. So Arsenal's got a tricky start, to the season. If you look at these fixtures, they've had a bit of a tough start, but it gets a bit better for them afterwards. But yeah, wildcard 6, I am eyeing it up. There's a chance I could do it. Let us know as well, guys, in the comments who you're transferring in this week. Are you getting in Mo Salah? Are you captaining Mo Salah? Are you captaining Haaland? Let us know as well in the chat. I'm on Haaland at the moment, ahead of Salah, but I do like Salah against Forest this week. I think Liverpool, I think Liverpool could win comfortably today. But again, Forest last season, they gave Liverpool a bit of a scare. Liverpool needed a late winner in the end. I remember, or was it Darwin that scored the late one in that fixture? So we'll see. And yeah, that pretty much, those are the sort of players. I mean, let's look at fixtures, because I've not really looked too further into the fixtures. I mean, you've got quite a few games today. You're looking at 8 fixtures on Saturday. No Monday Night Football this week. First one up, early kickoff, Southampton, Man United. I think I don't know what to make of that fixture. You'd expect Man United to win, but seeing with Man United's form, it is an away game as well. Early kickoff could be potentially a stumbling block for United, but they do need to bounce back after their loss to Liverpool. So we'll see in that one. Brighton again, the likes of João Pedro, Welbeck. People have got Mitoma, who's at a price rise as well. I think it's a good fixture for Brighton, especially it being at home to Ipswich. I do expect Brighton to carry on their good start to the season in this one. Palace and Leicester, I'm looking forward to as an Eze owner myself. We know Eze got the goal in the draw against Chelsea last game week. I'm looking for him to kick on now, and and get me something in Leicester, because I did unfortunately bench him last week. So mistake on my part, but happy to own him this week, and he's still fairly low owned. So here's hoping. Fulham and West Ham as well. So this is Smith Rowe. Obviously, I've got Smith Rowe. I'm starting him. West Ham have been okay, but it's one of those games, London derby. We'll have to see if Smith Rowe can get anything. I'm not expecting too much, but it is a home fixture for Fulham. Spoke about the Liverpool game. You expect Liverpool with it way the start of the season to carry on that form and put in a good performance against Nottingham Forest. And if you've got the likes of Trent, Jota, Salah, these players, I think they can go big. Even Luis Diaz, I know he's had a couple of price rises. I think he's still fairly low owned. So I do think it's a fixture that could pay off, especially if you're captaining Salah. I think this is one of the games that I think Salah could even be a better captaincy option than Haaland, but I am on Haaland for now. Obviously, we know Haaland's got Brentford, Man City Brentford at 3:00 kickoff as well. Yeah, if you've got Haaland, guys, I expect him to start personally. No info or anything, but I do expect him to play. And he's been on fire, Haaland, back-to-back hat-tricks, 7 goals as well already this season in 3 games. And would expect him to carry on that same sort of form going into that Brentford game. Villa and Everton's a decent one. A decent game, I think, because I think it's televised as well. Watkins owners, I would hold. If you've got Ollie Watkins, I know it's been a bit frustrating maybe owning him with the early subs as well. But I would keep the faith with Ollie Watkins, especially at home against a struggling Everton team who I believe are bottom of the table at the moment. So, yeah, keep the faith with Watkins, especially if you've got Rodgers as well. I think Rodgers is fine to play Rodgers this fixture as well. He can get you something. And yeah, Everton have been struggling. So I definitely think this is a good game for Aston Villa assets. Moving on to Chelsea Bournemouth. Chelsea are away in the evening kickoff, 8:00. I think the likes of Madueke, if you've got him, is still a good pick. I think Jackson as well could be decent options in this fixture. Obviously, Palmer's the obvious one, but I do think there are other options at Chelsea, mainly Madueke and Madueke and Nicholas Jackson. But yeah, good fixture for Chelsea, and I'm sure Palmer will get another return in this one. And moving on to Sunday's fixtures, we've got 2 games on Sunday. The big one, obviously, of the weekend, you think is Spurs Arsenal, North London derby. We know Arsenal have a few injuries in this one as well. So the likes of Rice is suspended for this one. Odegaard, we know, picked up an injury with the international team. He's out for this one. We know Mikel Merino is still injured with his shoulder. So Arsenal, looking at Jorginho, can Havertz play in midfield potentially? Would that make Havertz a better FPL option if he's not playing up front in his preferred number 9 position? We have to see. Again, we know Spurs have had some injury boost. We know Solanke is going to be back. He should be starting for Spurs, which is big for them. Van der Ven as well. We know he's back and in training, so Van der Ven's big for Spurs. So I think this could be a really, really nice game to watch for the neutral. I expect goals in this one, so that's why if you have Saka, Saka will probably score and punish us sellers, but I think this will be quite a high-scoring game. I expect 2-1, 3-2, something like that. I can see happening potentially, and I wouldn't rule Spurs out completely. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. It's one I'll be watching tomorrow. And then Wolves Newcastle. Obviously Newcastle did win, didn't they, against Spurs? I think last game week. And they go away to Wolves again. Gordon, if you've got him, I still probably keep him for that one. There's not really any options I'm looking at considering from Newcastle, but those are the sort of players I'd give a chance to again with Gordon. It's not been at his best so far this season in terms of start, but I'd keep the faith definitely. Soul Searcher with a comment. Let's go. Yep, we're back. Real football is back. The international break, as you guys know, I'm not biggest fan of. I just preferred Premier League. So yeah, it's nice to see. The break was nice. But I feel like I don't know. I don't like this international break. I just think the season's just started. We're at 3 games and it just kills the momentum of the season. And then we've got another international break, I think, in 3 or 4 weeks' time, which just feel like it's too much. I think they should let the season. We've just had Euros and international tournaments. I think this international break just gets in the way of the start of the season, personally. But hey, let us know what you guys think about this international break so early on during the season. But yeah, let us know as well in the comments. Is anyone wildcarding? Because as you guys know, Jordan's not here today, but he is wildcarding and he's already activated his wildcard. And I know there's quite a few people that are wildcarding in game week 4, mainly the ones that don't have a Haaland or don't have Salah or viable route to Salah. Because I think the people that had Haaland and Salah from game week 1 are sort of the people that have benefited and doing really well, because obviously they're both. It looks like the best drafts were the Salah and Haaland drafts, rather than having one or the other. So, just looking at some of the fixtures for Fulham, I know Robinson as well has been decent for me with the 2 assists. He's got West Ham, Newcastle, Forest, Man City, so up and down fixtures. But for his price, 4.5, he had a price rise to 4.6, but decent value for money. He's also a 90-minute man, so good to see there. I'm just going to look at transfers now as well, guys. Let's see what players people are bringing in. So just bear with me. So transfers in this round, so this game week. So looking at the stats, João Pedro is the most transferred in player this game week so far with 100. Sorry, no, with I believe that's 1.2 million managers have transferred in João Pedro, which comes as a surprise, sort of, but not really as well, because he's got 2 goals in his first 2 games, so first 3 games, goal against Man United and Arsenal. He's only 5.7 million, so he's a cheap forward. And at that price point, there's not really anyone better in the game. His ownership has rocketed to 33% as well, so he is a bit template now, having João Pedro, but for his price, he does provide really good value for money, and obviously he's in form as well. Luis Diaz, second most transferred in player this game week with 1.1 million managers pulling the trigger on Luis Diaz. And his ownership's now 20%. He's also had a couple of brilliant game weeks. 2 double-digit hauls in a row, a 14-pointer against Brentford and a 15-pointer against Manchester United. Now, with Diaz, is he a better option than Jota? Because I ended up going with Jota in game week 1, and it looks like Luis Diaz obviously has been the better pick so far. However, looking at underlying data, I wouldn't rule Jota out. I don't think Jota is is a much worse pick or anything like that to Diaz. I think Diaz has just been one of those where he's just been a bit more clinical this season so far. But I think Jota can potentially outscore him in the next couple of games. But I am liking Diaz. If I wasn't a wildcard game week 4, I would go with Luis Diaz over a Diego Jota at the moment. I mean, Luis Diaz looks like a new player at this season so far with the way he's taking his chances. But yeah, fair play to those that went there early. Obviously, you've picked up some really nice points there in the last 2, but then you can still see it going on. However, Champions League does sort of kick in. Could we expect a bit of rotation with Luis Diaz? I definitely think it's possible. Liverpool have Gakpo that can play there. We know Nunez as well hasn't had many minutes. We know Chiesa as well can play on the left. So definitely there is that worry there with Luis Diaz. Is he going to get rotated in the next 3 games? Which slightly does worry me about bringing him in, but I still think he's a great option at the moment with the way he's playing. Mo Salah again, 46% owned, third most transferred in player this week with over 858,000 managers bringing him in. Yes, I mean Salah's a shoe in for these fixtures. I think in terms of nailedness, he's going to play 90 minutes. We know Chiesa's there; he can play on that right. But with the form Salah is in, I don't expect him to be rotated much in these games. So yeah, captaincy option as well in game week 5. Fixtures look good. Haaland as well with 775,000 bringing him in. Again, not surprised after his hat trick. Onana's the one that interests me. I'm so surprised that he's actually the 5th highest most transferred in player this week. Am I missing something with Onana? Over 765,000 managers have transferred in Onana. But when I look at his, I mean, he did score against Leicester, which maybe is the reason why he's being transferred in. But I'm not sure about this move. I don't know. I don't get why he has got 2 goals, to be fair to him, in the first 3 against West Ham. He scored as well, game week 1. Scored against Leicester. So he's getting goals. There's 2 double-digit return in game week 1, 9-pointer against Leicester. Obviously, he's a really good player. But yeah, I'm slightly surprised to see him that high up. 11% ownership now as well. So fixtures look good. Everton, Wolves, Ipswich next. So it's one to watch, but it's not something that I would personally be looking to bring in Amadou Onana. But it's interesting to see that a lot of managers have sort of started pulling the trigger on Onana. Lewis is one I like, definitely. He's been transferred in by over 700,000 managers as well as we speak. We know Nathan Ake got that injury, didn't he, for Netherlands on the international break. And Lewis becomes a really nice option now as well. He's been getting into the penalty box, getting into good areas as well to get returns. And against Chelsea, he had a in his last game, expected goal involvement 0.18. Against Ipswich, it was 0.59 as well in the 4-1 win. So Rico Lewis at his price, 4.7 million. I think it's a good pick. He's already had 1 assist as well in his last game. Fixtures look decent, Brentford, and especially in game week 7 onwards. Rico Lewis could be a nice little cheap option to go for. But I wouldn't be trusting Rico Lewis having to start him every week. I like him as sort of a 4th, 5th defender because we know with Man City there's always that worry about rotation. Kuko with a comment. Good morning, mate. Thoughts on Veltman? I'll give you my thoughts on Veltman. Let's bring up Veltman. I mean, I like Brighton. If I was to go with a Brighton defender, I think I would prefer Lewis Dunk, personally. I just think I would prefer that nailedness. I know Veltman did play 90 minutes in game week 1 and 2. He was subbed off after 70 against Arsenal. But I still prefer Dunk just because I think Dunk's a bit more nailed. I don't know why. I'd rather that security option. I know Veltman is a good pick as well, but Veltman's a fine pick. Nothing wrong with the pick. But I personally prefer Dunk. I also think Dunk's got a bit of aerial threat as well on corners and set pieces. He could get you a goal as well. But I don't think Veltman's a bad shout. Brighton have the good fixtures as well. So especially this week, Brighton defenders against Ipswich, you can see potentially a clean sheet. Jota or Diaz? Yeah, Hamza, good question. Obviously, I was on this topic. I think if I was wildcarding now in game week 4, I would go with Diaz. But if I look at the underlying data, let's compare Jota and Diaz. Let's look at Jota first. Just bear with me. So Jota, we'll look at Jota first. Is the one I've gone with. So against Ipswich, he had an expected goal involvement of 0.99. Now, which is fantastic. We also know Jota missed an absolute sitter against Ipswich with that header. He really should have scored. So he came away with 1 goal. Could have had 2 easily in that fixture. Against Brentford, he had an expected goal involvement of 0.65. So again, very good numbers, underlying data. And against Man United, it was slightly lower at 0.08. Now, he's only had 1 goal, 1 assist in the first 3. But if you look at his numbers, he had an expected goal involvement of 1.7 in the first 3. And that is 0.69 per 90. So 0.69 expected goal involvement per 90, which is really good. You look at Diaz, on the other hand, he's had an expected goal involvement of 0.77 per 90. So it is slightly higher than Diego Jota. It might be a bit skewed due to the Brentford game. He had 1.04 expected goal involvement against Brentford, 0.84 against Ipswich, and 0.61. He's a fantastic option, guys. I'm not saying, I would bring Diaz in on a wild card, but if you've gone with Jota, I don't think we should be worried in that regard about Luis Diaz massively outscoring him in the next 3. I definitely think Jota can go and get 2 goals against Forest this week, and then maybe Diaz blank. With Liverpool, it's hard to sort of hard to nail down who's going to score that week. It could be one week where Jota gets the goals. It could be Diaz one week. It could be Gakpo. I think with Liverpool is a bit, I don't want to say luck, but choosing the right forward, because Liverpool create so many chances. Diaz is getting into really good positions though. So yeah, right now I'd go Diaz, but I'm a Jota owner myself, and I'm not worried about Jota at all. I think Jota's more likely to play and be less rotated potentially as well, because we know Champions League is coming, and then the likes of Gakpo and things, Chiesa could potentially play on the left and take minutes off Diaz. Gurant says, morning, Huss, thoughts on my wild card. Raya, Dunk, Konate, Robbo, Rogers, Salah, Saka, Mitoma, Ahmad, Diallo, Pedro, Haaland. I think I'd go for a cheaper goalie, personally, over Raya, and then maybe bring in an Arsenal defender. I like Dunk. I think he's a good pick at his price with the fixtures he has against Ipswich this week. Konate, I'm not sure I'd go Konate personally. I would rather than having double Liverpool defense with Robbo and Konate, I would prefer going with a Trent. I think downgrade your team anywhere else so you can get Trent in. I think Trent is worth that sort of compromise. I know you might have to downgrade a Mitoma or an Ahmad or whoever you need to downgrade. I would do it personally, or downgrade Raya if you have to get that extra 1 million and bring Trent in. Because I think Trent over the next 7, 8, 9 game weeks will be worth that extra 1 million from Robertson to Trent. That extra 1 million you need, find it somewhere and bring Trent in my opinion. That's just the only thing I would recommend. But the midfield's fine. Salah, Saka, Mitoma. Ahmad's an interesting pick. I think he could do decent against Southampton as well, if he starts, of course. And then the strikers, Pedro and Haaland. I think most of us have those as well. So yes, it's a nice team. I just would try stretch and somehow try bring Trent in, because I am big on Trent, as you guys know. I just think I think Trent is one of those options that you sort of have to have in your team. Abbas, Saka and Gordon to Salah and Minter, or Saka and Isaac to Salah and João Pedro. Now, I've done the Salah and João Pedro moves, Abbas, myself, so I'm going to go with that one because I've done it myself. So I'll have to stay true to what I've done in my team. Harry says, start Munoz or Robinson. Attack is a bit dodgy right now since Watkins is out of form and Munoz has been disappointing in terms of goals so far. Munoz, let's have a look at him. Palace have been disappointing, but I think a lot of that is down to their summer transfer window. I mean, they haven't won a game yet. They've not had the easiest start in terms of fixtures. Munoz has got 1 assist in game week 1. I think this is a good game to play him, to be honest, though, sir. I think Munoz against Leicester is one of those games I wouldn't want to bench him for. So I would play him. So I know he's had a tough start. We know Palace have had a tough window as well. They've lost the likes of Elise, who's a key man for them. They've lost Joachim Anderson as well to Fulham, I think, who's a big player for them. But I think this is a fixture where I can see Palace sort of turning it around, especially myself as an Eze owner. I'm going to play Eze this week because I think it's one of those games where he could have some joy. Watkins, again, we spoke about Watkins, guys. I know he's been a bit frustrating as a Watkins owner, if you've got Watkins. But I definitely think keep the faith with Watkins. I do see him turning it around, and I think the goals aren't far away. Soul Searcher, Trent or Eze. If that's someone who should play this week, you want to play both. Let's speak about Trent quickly. As you guys know, I've had Trent at the lock in my team before the game came out. When I saw his price at 7 million, I think he's excellent value for money at that price. I think, non-owners have been very, very fortunate to have not been punished by Trent so far. We know he's got 3 assists. Very unlucky not to have an assist or even a goal. He did score against Man United. A slight offside due to Salah being involved in the build-up. And I think Trent is one of those players that he's not going anywhere for my team anyway. I think Trent is a 200-point player this season. I think he will get you 200 points, assuming obviously he stays fit. He's already got us 20 points already so far this season. I personally think Trent will hit that 200 mark. His underlying numbers are good. You watch that Liverpool team, everything's sort of still going through Trent. So He's so involved in the build-up. He's putting balls in. We know Liverpool are looking a bit better defensively as well, so he will rack up clean sheets a lot more than last season, and he also does pick up bonus points as well. So, yeah, for me, Trent, you should be looking to bring him into your team, guys. But Eze again, I own Eze myself. Unfortunately, I did bench him in that Chelsea fixture, and he goes and scores as always. But he's been very unlucky as well, I think. Eze, you look at his underlying data again against West Ham in the loss, he had an XGI of 0.62. So he should have easily had maybe a couple of more goals. So again, and if you've got Eze, you definitely want to play him against Leicester. Against Man United, I think he's a good pick. Everton as well, I can see him getting, and he's obviously the main man now, especially with Elise leaving. He's sort of taking the mantle, I think, and I expect him to, still be obviously Palace's main man. And with these fixtures, I do back him to do well. And his ownership is still 26%. He's had a price drop, so I think he's a bargain at that price, guys. I really do. Another player in that position I like that I am eyeing up bringing in a couple of weeks, or maybe even next week, actually. Brian Mbumo. Now he's at a price rise. He's now 7.1 million. Just come off the back of a 14-pointer against Southampton as well, with the 2 goals. Scored in game week 1 as well against Palace. His underlying numbers are decent as well. 1.15 XGI against Southampton. Southampton look like the team to target from what I've seen so far. So we'll have to see how Man United do against Southampton in the early kickoff. But yeah, and Mbumo, definitely, guys. I know he's got a tough game against Man City this week. Still wouldn't be surprised if he does get a goal. But then he's someone that I'm looking at bringing in from game week 6 onwards. If you're wildcard in game week 6, when I was mentioning that fixture swing that happens, West Ham, Wolves, Man United, Ipswich, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester. That's a really nice run. And Mbumo, he's 100% coming into my team after the game week 5 game against Spurs. I think I'll be bringing him in. So I'll have to find a way to fit him in. Maybe I get rid of someone like a Jota in game week 6 or 7 when Liverpool's fixtures slightly turn. We'll have to see how I bring him in, but he's definitely one that I want to, bring into my team. Kudus as well. Not much chatter amongst Kudus this season. He hasn't scored or got an assist. No attacking returns in the first 3. We know they've lost 2 games. West Ham. It was a tougher game against Man City, and Aston Villa game week 1 is a bit of a tough start. But Kudus' ownership is only 5.7%. I think he's one to watch when the fixtures turn. When they turn around, maybe game week 14. I think with Kudus is one I'm waiting and seeing what he does, because we know he's a really good player. He's at a price drop as well, 6.4 million. So he's one I'm looking. I'm just seeing what he does. But Mbumo definitely is up there, and Eze. Those players I think are above him at the moment. But Kudus is one that, if you want to be different, I think watch the next couple of games. If he can show a bit of form, if West Ham can show a bit of form, we know what Kudus is capable of. He's one I will be looking at myself. I've got Henderson and Munoz, so really hoping for a Palace clean sheet, says Harry. And Bruno's last chance today against Southampton for my FPL team. Should stop putting United players, but I do it every year, says Harry. Yeah, let's speak about Bruno or Man United assets. So Bruno Fernandes, again, I think owners have been quite unfortunate. Now, he should have 100% had a few more attacking returns than he has. He's got no goals and no assists, which I think, when you look at his numbers, obviously he had an XGI of 0.80 against Brighton. Some will say unlucky. He had 1.22 expected goal involvement against Fulham as well. Should have had that assist, but it was offside. I think Xerxes sort of blocked the ball. But yeah, Bruno owners have been a bit unlucky, it's fair to say. Should have had a few more returns, but it's same with Eze. I think Trent, certain players out there that haven't really got the returns they deserve. But if you've got Bruno, I think this is probably last chance saloon against Southampton. If he can't get something against Southampton, I would get rid of him personally. I think there's too many players at his price point, 8.4 million, likes of Jota, Eze, and Burmo. So many options out there right now under that 8 million bracket that if he doesn't deliver, I personally would get rid. Because after that, Palace, Spurs, Villa, Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea, these aren't going to be easy games for Man United with the way they're playing right now. So I think if you've got Bruno, be patient. One more week. and see what he can do this game week. But yeah, owners have been unlucky as well. That's one thing to mention, I guess. Casares as well with a comment says hello. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. Also, guys, please do like the stream if you are enjoying the content. Really appreciate all your support. So, hit the subscribe button as well if you're new around here. But yeah, in terms of Man United assets, I'm not keen on many of them. I think Ahmad, if he starts again, we don't know if he's going to start because his minutes have been a bit up and down. 60 minutes against Fulham, played about 90 against Brighton, only 21 against Liverpool, which was a bit surprising because I thought he would start. He looked like one of the better players for Man United. Garnacho, another one. If you've got Garnacho, I probably would. I don't know what I'd do with Garnacho, to be honest. I mean, minutes have been up and down. 30 minutes against Fulham, 25 against Brighton, 68 against Liverpool. Is he going to start against Southampton? It's hard to say. Rashford again. Rashford hasn't been in the best of forms, but it seems like Ten Hag prefers him over the likes of Ahmad and Garnacho, which is surprising on current form. You'd rather play Ahmad, I think. But again, I'm just not keen on or high on Man United assets at the moment, especially the ones I am, likes of Ahmad potentially. We don't know if he's going to start. Let's see if there's any team news about Man United. Should get early team news. Casper says, is anyone here wildcarding? Jordan is on a wildcard, guys. But he's not here, unfortunately, today. But he will be back tomorrow for the knee jerk stream at 7 p.m. So make sure you guys do join us tomorrow for the reaction and the fallout to Game Week 4. So it's going to be a good stream tomorrow. But yeah, Jordan's on a wild card. But yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. Anyone on a wild card? Who are the players that you should be having on a wild card? Who's sort of like a lock? I mean, I think Salah on a wild card, you've got to probably include him. Haaland. I like Eze personally on a wild card. Luis Diaz, I think, is an obvious one, maybe, but I do think Diaz looks nice at the moment on a wild card. Let us know, guys, who you would go for on a wild card. Harry says probably going to wild card game week 6. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at as well, potentially a game week 6 wild card. Maybe bring in some Arsenal because, as you guys can see, I've only got Saliba from Arsenal, and Arsenal do have a sort of a decent run in from game week 6 when they play got 3 nice fixtures in a row. Comment here from Examade Tutorials. Saka to Diaz and Aina to Trent for free. Yeah, these are really good moves. I think bringing in Trent I spoke about Trent, I think is a really good pick for the coming fixtures. And Diaz is the man on form. And he is getting into more attacking positions. And I think the way Slot is playing right now, with the way Liverpool use the wingers, I think Diaz is key. He's making more inside runs, which Diaz wasn't making as much last season. So maybe he does. I mean, not surprised. He's getting more goals. Currently, I think I have a decent team without Salah. So if long he doesn't get another 17 pointer, I should be fine with Caceres. Yeah, with Salah, I know a lot of managers can't bring him in at the moment due to his price. It is quite tough to bring him in, especially if you've structured your team in a way that you don't have the funds unless you sell a Saka or someone like that, which you may not have the free transfers to do so. But yeah, I personally wouldn't want to go without Salah for these 3 fixtures. Back-to-back home games. Yeah, I can't do it. So yeah, hopefully Caceres doesn't punish you too much, but you should be fine. Slot seems very confident with Bradley and Simicast. Maybe rotation will be more likely this season. I'm not so sure, I think he rates Bradley and he's not afraid to sort of put him into the team. But I think Slot is one of those managers that he's going to play the same team. If they're fit, there's no issues with injury. I think he's not much into rotation. I think he will play the same 11. I think I was looking at was his final team last season. He didn't make many changes. When he when he could, he played the same 11, and I would not be surprised if Liverpool have the same 11 from game week 3. So Allison in goal, Trent right back, Robertson left back, Konate, Van Dijk centre back. He'll play Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai in the midfield. Salah on the right, Diaz on the left, and I expect Jota again. I think same again, guys, for Liverpool. I don't think there will be much rotation unless forced with injury or Champions League. Obviously, we know there has to be rotation. Harrison, if we drop points against Southampton, then I'll be fuming. Hopefully, I'll go to the gym later in a good mood if United win. Yeah, I think Man United haven't had the best of starts, but it's one of those fixtures now against Southampton is one of those teams we're probably looking to target their fixtures. I mean, I think it's probably a must win for Man United this game. I mean, they have to start picking up these wins, and I think they should win against Southampton anyway. I'm just seeing any team news in regards to Man United, but I don't see anything. Let us know, guys, if you see any team news, mainly with Garnacho, Rashford, and Ahmad. Which one of those three start? As of now, I need to decide 3 of these players to start. Burn, Konate, Konza, Porro. Seems tough. What the fixtures are saying. So first of all, Burn, he's got Wolves away. Konate has Forest at home. Konza, Villa. Who do they have again? Villa have Everton at home. And then I definitely will start Porro. I think I would bench Dan Burn. I think I'll start Konate, Konsa, and Porro. If I was you. Bench Dan Burn. He's got the away game. Konsa, home game, yeah, for Konsa. And yeah, I'll start Konsa, Porro, and Konate both have, all three, sorry, have their home fixtures. So I'd probably play those 3. Soul Searcher says, I'm going gym now to get out the way, expecting a 1-1 draw and weekend written off. A 1-1 draw, I mean, that would be a big result for Southampton if they can do it. I mean, Southampton, have they lost all 3 games? I think they have. As far as I'm aware. Yeah, they've lost all 3. Lost to Newcastle 1-0, lost to Forest 1-0, and then lost 3-1 to Brentford. Surely, if it is a banker of a fixture, Man United is the one. But with the way Man United are playing, you could never rule it out. Right, lock your transfers in, guys. So you have 15 minutes left, pretty much, between the deadline. George, Gabriel, or Robinson. That's a tough one. I don't expect Gabriel to keep a clean sheet, if I'm being honest with you. But I probably will still play Gabriel because I still feel like he can maybe get you a goal from a set piece or corner. So I probably would still play Gabriel. But I think Robinson against West Ham at home could potentially get you an assist as well. I think you probably don't see a clean sheet for either player, so I probably would still go Gabriel. I forgot to add one more name. Rogers as well. Okay. Konate has slight rotation risk too. No, I don't think Konate is a rotation risk at all, guys. I think he's firmly first choice. I know Kwanzaa, there was a bit of hype in preseason and even last season we sort of took Konate's spot for us for a bit. I think Konate is first choice. And I think Slot's made that clear. So I wouldn't be worried about rotation with Konate. It's just the injury issues potentially with Konate that is there. If he's not the most reliable in terms of injury. And obviously with Champions League, maybe there could be a bit of rotation. But in terms of who's first choice, it's definitely Konate and Van Dijk in the back line. I would probably play Rogers then. I'll play Rogers. I'd play Porro. And I'll still play Konate because I think Konate could get a clean sheet. I think Liverpool probably have one of the best chances of a clean sheet this week. So, Yeah. Salah, Palmer, Son, Eze, Saka, my midfield, Isak up top. What's the best captain, bro? The midfield looks great. That is a strong midfield. I don't know how you've afforded that midfield, but I'm assuming you don't have Haaland. I'm assuming you don't have Haaland, Soul Searcher. If not, you want to captain Salah. I think Salah is the first, second best choice captaincy. I think you've got a captain one of Haaland or Salah, and if you've not got Haaland, I think Salah is the obvious choice. Elika says Morning Huss bought in Paqueta and Barnes as differentials. Interesting. I've not really seen Paqueta in too many teams, if I'm being honest, but I like how different you've gone. West Ham do have Fulham, so it's one to watch. Yeah, we'll see. It's interesting, definitely, for sure. João Pedro at Welbeck. I prefer João Pedro, I think. But I think Welbeck's maybe a bit underlooked as well. I think he's a great pick. Pretty much matching João Pedro anyway on points. So, but I would go João Pedro, I think. Correct, no Haaland. Yeah, it makes sense. With those, that's a stacked midfield you've got there. So, yeah, in your case, I think Salah is the obvious captaincy. Comment here from Charlie as well. So tempted to triple captain Haaland. Now, obviously, a lot of people were looking at last week triple captain Haaland. Was it game week 2? Let's bring it up here. The Ipswich was the one where a lot of people were looking to triple captain and paid off, got a hat trick straight away. West Ham again, not many people saw that one coming, maybe back to back. But I wouldn't go triple captain Haaland against Brentford personally. But if you have a feeling, if you have a gut instinct that he's gonna score, then go for it. If you feel like he's gonna do it, then it's one of those. It's hard to say. With Haaland, you never know. He can easily get you a hat trick in a game week. We've seen it, in the last 2 weeks. I have 2 free transfers with 1.5 in the bank. Is it worth it to take Munoz out or just save up transfers or later game weeks? Depends who you take him out for, Harry. I think Munoz, it's not the worst pick. You wouldn't be surprised if he did manage to keep a clean sheet against Leicester. And Leicester are a newly promoted team. Not had the best of starts to the season. So I don't think you have to take him out of the priority. But if you can bring in someone like a Trent or, one of those big players that can potentially get you goals and assists, then maybe, it would be worth it. Any news confirming Haaland going to play? No news confirming that, but actually, there is a reliable Man City account, FPL Tony, who I do follow on Twitter. He's usually reliable for Man City news, has tweeted a picture of Haaland saying essentially he's going to start. So if you've got Haaland, guys, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think he will play. Personally, obviously, hopefully you've got a bench in case he doesn't, but no, I'm not worried about Haaland personally. I think he'll start. David Haas, would you start Mbermo or Semenyo this week? Semenyo has Chelsea, doesn't he? That's a tough question. I still would start Mbermo. I wouldn't want to be one of those people that bench Mbermo only for him to go get a goal against. And we've seen Man City. They conceded against Ipswich. So with the 4 Mbermos in, I wouldn't be surprised if he can maybe get something on a counter attack. So I still would play Mbermo. But Semenyo against Chelsea, it's not a bad shout as well. But I just wouldn't want to bench Mbermo with the form he's in. Main man for Brentford on the counter attack could get you something. Fulham attacker Mooney. Oh, Mooney. I thought you said sorry. I thought you said Munoz, the Palace defender. Yeah, Muniz is an interesting one because he's been a bit frustrating as well. The Fulham attacker, sorry. I probably would take Muniz out if you can. If you've got a free transfer, I would do it. João Pedro, again, it looks like an obvious one at that price point to bring in. Yeah, I probably would do Muniz to João Pedro personally. João Pedro Ipswich at home, nice fixture. Yeah, sorry, I thought you meant the Palace defender there, Harry. Yeah, but I was wondering if Haaland doesn't play, I would have a really tough choice on my vice captaincy without Salah. Yeah, I mean, you can go for someone like, if you've got any other Liverpool assets like a Jota or a Diaz, I think they're decent vice captaincy options as well. Trent in for Saliba for a -4. I'm not sure I'd do it for a -4, Luca. Even though how good Trent is, I think long term he's going to be a good pick. I'm not sure I'd do it for a -4. I just don't like taking hits this early. And it depends on your rank as well. If you're having a really good start to the season, maybe you're in the top 100k, top 50k, you could maybe sort of justify the -4. But ideally, I wouldn't recommend taking a -4 this early anyway. I wouldn't want to anyway, but it does depend on your play style and how you like to play FPL, really. Um, Saliba, I think he's fine to keep. Saliba's fixtures aren't great in the next two. You don't see clean sheets for Arsenal in the next two. But after that, Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, I think are good games for Saliba and Arsenal assets. Also, guys, please do hit that like button on the stream and also make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well if you're watching for the first time. We're back again, obviously, tomorrow after the fixtures wrap up to discuss the knee jerk reaction stream. So make sure you do tune in for that one. It should be a really good stream tomorrow. All right, guys, there's about 9 minutes left in terms of deadline. And yeah, I mean, got quite a few early kickoff. I'll probably try to watch the Southampton Man United game. Let us know which games you guys are going to be trying to watch today. Who's watching this first one? Lewis, hello, mate. Start Mbermo, Armstrong, or Robinson? Definitely Mbermo. I know he's got Man City, guys. I know it's a tough game on paper, but I've realised even the Eze, since I got burned last week with Eze and I benched Eze against Chelsea, I just think it's not worth it. When you've got a player, 7 million player that is the main man of their team, I just don't think it's worth benching them because they have the potential to get a double digit haul. Whereas Armstrong doesn't really have that. And even Robinson, it's unlikely he's going to get you a goal. So I just think and play the attacker, guys. That's one thing I'm going to try stick to that advice this season. Play the attacker, even if you've not got the best bench. Muniz will probably score now. That's usually how it goes when I transfer someone out. Yep, that's FPL. That's how it works. When you bench for a player, like in me last week when I benched Eze, he goes and scores against Chelsea, and I played I think Smith Rowe instead of him. Don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, there are rumors that Haaland starts. If anyone was worried, there's quite a few sort of accounts, saying Haaland starts. Lewis says, thanks, sir. No, thank you, Lewis. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Yeah, like and subscribe, guys. I always appreciate it. Salah or Haaland cap. Um, I am on Haaland at the moment, but if you fancy Salah, I don't think anyone could argue with you with the form he's in and how well he's doing. It is a tricky one. I don't think it's clear one way or the other. I personally think Haaland is slightly the better pick still after that back-to-back hat trick. I would go with Haaland, but Salah again, he's playing really well, and I don't think it's a bad shout. Jota starts apparently. If anyone was worried about rotation, yeah, let us know if anyone captaining somebody else apart from Salah or Haaland. Is anyone going there this week? Is anyone going Uber differential? I'm on Saka and Gabriel with Jota, Trent, Haaland captain. Thinking Gabriel to Robertson for double Liverpool at the back. Got 3 free transfers. Oh, you got 3 free transfers. You're in a pretty good position there. I think Robertson is a good pick, guys. Mainly due to the fact that Liverpool have Champions League games now coming up. I think they've got Milan. And if anyone's going to get rotated, it's probably going to be the attackers, the likes of Luis Diaz, the likes of Jota. In the back, Liverpool. Obviously, there's Simicast there that can play left back, but I just think Robertson might be more nailed than a Luis Diaz in the coming fixtures. Liverpool will play something like 7 games in 22 days, which is mad. But um, yeah, I don't think Liverpool double at the back is a bad shout, especially with rotation issues coming potentially with Darwin and things like that. That couldn't get games in the Premier League. Abbas, Jota, or Gordon, keep one. Jota all day for me. haven't got below 60 points in a game week so far, and I'm without Haaland. Salah saving me so far, even though my overall rank is poor. Yeah, it's been a lot of high scoring game weeks. Been high scoring weeks at the start of the season. I mean, I last game week I got 81 points, I think, and it was decent green, but obviously my rank. I mean, rank isn't really important at this stage. I don't think. I think I only start looking at the rank really seriously when I get to like game week 10, when I sort of start thinking about rank and things. I think this early on is so clustered together. Even 1 point can be worth hundreds of thousands of places. So um, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about rank there, Harry. But yeah, you've done well, obviously. To If you've had Salah, just Salah, and you've captained Salah most weeks, then you should be fine. Salah's done really well as well. So obviously having Haaland and Salah right now seems like the play. Saymoniel. Sorry, I think I've butchered your name. I do apologize. Um, Haaland starting. Yeah, it seems like he's starting, guys. So if you've got Haaland, I wouldn't worry. As I mentioned, I wasn't really worried about Haaland. I was always of the view that he would play. Do, 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 do. Yeah, there are some leaks. A couple of Man City accounts that have said Haaland starts. So they take it with a pinch of salt, maybe. But as far as I'm aware, Haaland starts. Leaks wise, so Man United are the early kickoff. I haven't seen many leaks about Man United. Shall I start Nadalzovic or Nkunku? Now, yeah, this one, as an Nkunku game week 1 owner, I've got rid. I think if you've got Nkunku, just sell him, mate. I just don't think I'd be keeping the faith with Nkunku. I don't know if he's going to start, so get rid of Nkunku, bring in someone like Matoma, Rogers. There's so many options that you've got. I would want to play a Villa defender personally, but again, with the Villa defender, the 4 million Villa defender, I'm not sure if he is nailed himself, but I'd probably play the Villa defender. I just don't think I can't trust Nkunku, guys. If you've got Nkunku, 100% sell. It's just been a disaster pick. Apparently, same team as the Liverpool game where we got battered, or maybe Ahmad in instead of Garnacho. I'm not sure. I think Ahmad should play. Personally, I think from what I've seen of Man United, he's been one of the players that have looked a bit decent. So I'm surprised he doesn't play more games. I would think he should play every game for Man United. Um, yep, you got about 2 minutes, guys, before the deadline. Get those transfers locked in. Do, 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 do. So we're back tomorrow for that knee jerk stream as well, straight after the last fixture on Sunday. A lot of players. Yeah, going back to that, I would start Nedeljkovic. I think that's how you say his name. And Kunku. Chelsea fans are not even sure if he's going to start. So yeah, just play that defender probably. Yeah, Saka, and I've seen a lot of transfers out for Saka, guys, on the timeline on Twitter. Anyway, a lot of Saka to Salah seems very, very popular. I'm looking at a lot of tweets from the community. A lot of transfers out for Saka, which could punish us. Saka can easily go and score against Tottenham. Gonna give João Pedro game week 4 and 5, then wildcard game week 6, says Harry as well. Yeah, I think that's probably the smart idea to do. Kulusevski, sell or keep? Probably sell. probably sell. But yeah, that is it, guys. It is now 11 a.m. UK time. That is the deadline. Hopefully, you've made your moves. Just want to say good luck to everyone for Game Week 4. Hope you have a good week in terms of FPL anyway. And hopefully you can manage to get your green arrows, guys. I'm going to wrap the stream up here, I think. We are back again. Well, me and Jordan will join tomorrow around 7 p.m. for the knee-jerk stream while we discuss our scores from Game Week 4. So do join us. It's going to be a great stream. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. It's been a really good stream. And yeah, as always, good luck to you, Harry. Good luck to everyone in the stream as well. Join us tomorrow for that stream, and we will see you guys then. Take care, guys, and enjoy your weekend of football.